Hello and welcome back to my basement. This is Jeremiah Wolf, and hey, I had some more thoughts about the video I put out regarding automation, AI coming for your jobs. There was a really good comment that came through, and I wanted to address this because the truth is, I got sidetracked by talking about economics, which I thought was an important conversation. Because it's talking about that I was kind of talking about how this is going to affect everyone. Not, excuse me, I'm drinking this energy drink, Ghost Sour Patch. It is literally candy, sugar free, but it tastes like candy. Excuse me. So let's talk a little bit about specifically about network engineers because I did not do that earlier, and I apologize. So here's the comment from Caleb, and I'm just going to leave that on the screen. I'm not going to read it all. But he's saying, hey, listen, I like your videos, but I disagree with you a little bit about this. I don't think that AI and automation is going to eliminate network engineers, which is a valid point, very valid. And he goes on to say that he thinks that these things are too complicated, and there's always going to be tasks like provisioning that, consoling into a new device that an AI cannot do. And he talks about some other things. And I thought this was worth addressing because, now, listen, I don't know Caleb at all. And I have only respect for this guy. I don't know anything about him. So I apologize if I say anything that sounds disrespectful or, if I whatever. I don't, I don't want to come off like an asshole. That being said, it appears that maybe Caleb isn't quite up on the latest in where we are today, because it sounds like he's thinking of automation like it used to be, not what it is today even, let alone what it's going to be. What do I mean by this? So he's talking about, automation requiring a lot of customization and programming skills, and that, not all companies are going to be able to do that because it's too expensive. So I think he's thinking kind of like Ansible, where you're creating playbooks and pushing this stuff out to your network devices, which is still a very, it's more streamlined than doing every device by hand, but it's still somewhat intensive, hands-on process. But that's not where we are anymore. We've already moved past that. Now, maybe the devices in your network aren't there yet. Maybe your network's not there yet, but it will be. And it can be, if you started from scratch, it could be that way today. So right now with Cisco, and I only know Cisco products, but right now today between vManage, DNA Center, and Meraki, most of Cisco's portfolio, you can do zero-touch provisioning. You never need to console into a device. An engineer or technician never needs to touch a device. And I'm talking about not only managing and monitoring, I'm talking about provisioning. So, in the past I used to work for an implementer, and I'll talk more about this in a second. But when we had a new project, the guys from the warehouse would truck out, stacks of Cisco boxes, and we had really nice big work centers, desks, and we would stack all this stuff up and connect it all, and spend the next week or two getting everything configured and tested. Then we'd box it all back up and ship it out to the site. And today, you don't need to do that. Today, you buy it from Cisco. You buy it, it shows up in your management center automatically. Then you go in, you select that device, you apply a template. You can pick the row in the spreadsheet that has the site-specific information, and that's it. Your role as an engineer is now done. You did 3 minutes worth of work. When the device arrives at the customer site, you could literally have the branch manager just go plug it in. Or if it's a little more complex, you might have to send out a tech to plug it in. But it's going to come up. It's going to authenticate itself to the network. It's going to suck down its config. and just start working, and you never had to do almost anything. So, you know, once you get those templates built, which is a little bit of a process, that's it. You can just you can reuse those. It's a little bit more complex than that, but just a little bit. You can reuse those for everything in your network. So you spin up another site, just go reuse the old template you already created. It takes you a couple minutes to do it. That's where we are today. Now, I haven't learned DNA Center yet. It's on my list. And Meraki, I don't know anything about. So I pretty much only know SD-WAN vManage. And it's pretty slick. It's a little bit clunky today, but it's still pretty slick. And I will say that I was just talking to what is today? Friday. So last weekend, I happened to run into the senior architect for a large aerospace company. They do lots of things. He worked in their aerospace division. So this is a very big global kind of company. He's very high up, and we were chatting. He was heading off to Cisco Live. We were chatting, and he was telling me about his company is dropping Cisco for a lot of their products, and one of the ones is the SD-WAN. They decided to go with Silver Peak for SD-WAN because it was simpler and cheaper. So Cisco's is I think having learned it, a little clunky but pretty cool. And he's saying, oh, Silver Peak is even way better and easier. So we're already at the zero-touch provisioning throughout the entire network today, or nearly through the entire network today, and we will definitely be there very soon. And if you watch the Cisco Live keynote, which I'm going to make a video about probably this weekend, that's Cisco's big push now, is to integrate and simplify, so that we're getting closer and closer to, the one platform to rule them all. Right now, Cisco's a mess, and it's costing them customers and market share, and they know they need to simplify. So that's coming down the pike. That's where we are today. So in terms of building a network, you need very little input nowadays. And then let's talk about AI real quick. So I'm not sure what his impression of AI is, but it's not that every company is going to build their own AI. I mean, that's what DNA Center is. DNA Center is AI. The what's it called? Thousand Eyes. What's it called? The Insights Keysight? No, that's a scope manufacturer. So, these Cisco already has AI platforms. You're not going to spend ridiculous amounts of money building your own. You're just going to buy that as a service. And it's going to be like right now, I'm pretty sure if you buy new Catalyst switches, you have to buy a DNA Center license. So the AI is already baked into the price already today. So it's not like this is now people don't like that, and we'll see how that, works out over the next few years. But that's where we are today. So this idea that people can't afford AI. And then the other thing I want to talk about, so look, we're already at zero-touch provisioning. We're already there today. AI is already here today as far as monitoring your network, finding problems, making suggestions for fixing problems. We're still and you can click a button, say, okay, I agree, go fix it. We're already there today. And this stuff is growing so fast. Where are we going to be 10 years from now? And then the final piece, when we talk about zero-touch AI, what was the last thing? Okay, yeah, so the last thing we'll talk about was this notion that, my network is too complex. Caleb isn't saying this. I'm saying that other people might say this. My network is too complex. There would be too much customization for the AI. It's going to be easier for a human being to do that. I'm sorry, with all respect to you, you're wrong. So I'm going to talk about from my own perspective. So I don't want to sound like an asshole or conceited or self-centered or whatever, but that's, I only have my perspective. But, back when I worked for an implementer, I worked on globe spanning, and I mean that literally, globe spanning networks with thousands of sites that span, this is actually cool, from headquarters locations with, hundreds of office workers to data centers, multiple data centers, to branch offices, to literally farms, including, I remember one specifically was a turkey farm. I think it was was it in Brazil? I want to say Brazil, but I could be wrong. But a turkey farm that was on a 56K modem. So we had everything from T3s and E3s, T1s to 56K modem to fiber, Ethernet. Within this network, thousands of sites across the entire globe. I worked on that network. I worked on lottery network, where you're talking about literally every single gas station and every single convenience store in the entire state is on the network, every single one. And the lottery terminals that are at these places do not speak Ethernet. They speak a proprietary serial protocol that needed to be transposed, translated, encapsulated, and sent through the network. I worked on hospitals. I worked on the security system for casino. I worked on hotels. I worked on fast food restaurants. Okay, so I have done such a huge gambit of things. And when you've done that many, from literally a server, a router, a switch, and 5 workstations, to thousands of sites and tens of thousands of devices, it's just not that complicated. That's not the right way to say it. Your network isn't unique. When you've done all those different things, you realize there's only so many protocols. Those protocols can only talk to each other in so many ways. So, we have this proprietary app that, everybody has a proprietary app. Just tell me where it needs to go. Who needs access to it? Done. Well, we have this branch office. It's in another part of the world. Yeah, you and everybody else. So, this idea that our network is too complicated. AI wouldn't be able to figure it out. No, AI is going to be able to figure it out. If a single engineer can figure it out, me or somebody else better than me can figure it out, AI can freaking figure it out, man. Don't kid yourself. So, to Caleb's point, I think he underestimates where we are today, and thereby underestimates where we're going to be 10 years from now. Now, he does have a valid point. We're still going to need people. You're still going to need people to go do rack and stack. That's still going to be a thing. But, if all you need, if your AI configuration and management platform prints out a picture of the device front panel and has all the cable interconnects, who needs to be doing the rack and stack? Just a simple tech making nothing, making $15, $20 an hour. Do you need a network architect / senior engineer? Yeah, probably, but you need one. You don't need a whole team. And the one thing that you definitely don't need anymore is all those people in the middle, the tier 2s and 3s. They just are going to disappear. You're going to have some low-end people. You're going to have very few high-end people, and all these people are going to disappear. So, and that's not just network engineering. I want to be clear about that. This is all of IT. There is nothing that anyone can do in IT that cannot be done by a machine. Even programming itself. We've already have AIs writing programs. And again, this stuff is only accelerating. So that's just some clarification, speaking more specifically about network engineering, a little bit about IT in general. Thanks for watching. Oh, you know what? And have a great weekend.